Welcome back to Let's Talk Couture, and today's episode is one I am very, very, very excited to be filming. If you know me, you know I love Michael Jackson. I am telling y'all, like, nobody misses Michael more than me, nobody loves Michael more than me, and we can fight about that. So that's why today's video is in his honor. Michael Jackson was not only a musical icon, but a trendsetter in fashion. Throughout his career, his style evolved alongside his sound, each album era marking a distinct phase of his artistic and personal growth. From the glittering costumes of the 70s to the streetwear influenced looks of the 90s, Jackson's fashions were a key part of his identity. Let's take a look at how his style transformed across the different eras of his career. Off the Wall, 1979, the early glam. As I would go all the way back to the Jackson 5 era, I'm going to be focusing on his solo career in this specific video. Michael Jackson's fashion evolution begins in the late 1970s during the Off the Wall era, one of my favorites. As he transitioned from child star to adult solo artist, his style was a blend of funk and glam. His outfits featured wide lapels, bell-bottom pants, strong emphasis on bright colors, reflecting the disco era's exuberance. Jackson's style was already starting to stand out with smooth, tailored fits that made him appear both polished and accessible. He had a different look than the one that we had seen in the previous era. It was still a time of experimentation, but his clothing choices, like the white socks paired with the black loafers, were beginning to hint at his later signature looks. Thriller, 1982, the rise of the icon, bold and dramatic. The Thriller era marked Michael's first major breakthrough as a global superstar, and his fashion choices reflected his larger-than-life persona. The most iconic outfit from this period, of course, is the red leather jacket from the Thriller music video. I'm gonna put that right next to the 1984 Grammys look, though, because Mike looked good that night. Now, this red leather jacket became synonymous with the album itself. It was also designed by Oria McCullough. With its exaggerated shoulders and quilted panels, it defined a new era of rock star coolness, combined with the almost cinematic flair that we kind of get to see reflected during his short film period. Beyond the jacket, though, Jackson's fashion during this time became more structured, with elements of military-inspired uniforms, tailored pants, and black boots. He also began wearing single white gloves as an eccentric touch that became his signature. The clothing wasn't just for show. It was a reflection of his growing confidence and the intensity of his performances. Bad, 1987, reinventing the king of pop, tougher and more edgy. By the time Bad arrived, Michael Jackson was no longer just a pop star. He was a cultural force. His fashion in this era leaned into a tougher, edgier aesthetic with an influence of street style and military gear. Jackson's all-black ensembles, featuring leather jackets, buckles, chains, these all became iconic. The Bad album cover itself depicted him in a leather jacket, giving him an almost superhero-like, rebellious aura. This era also introduced a more refined, sleek look, tight-fitting pants, aviator sunglasses, and the famous Thriller era military jacket evolved into like this full-on uniform chic. The rougher, more rebellious appearance was complemented by an intense personal transformation. Jackson was now a global icon in both music and fashion, creating trends that would influence pop culture for decades. Dangerous, 1991. High fashion meets street style, glamour, and experimentation. In the Dangerous era, Michael Jackson's fashion became even more experimental, mixing high fashion with street style. This period saw Jackson embracing bold prints, intricate patterns, and more avant-garde styles. His clothing now reflected the influence of urban culture, with oversized pants, intricately designed jackets with exaggerated shoulders and gold accents. Jackson was no longer just a trendsetter in mainstream fashion, but he was pushing boundaries with an eclectic and almost futuristic aesthetic. This was a time of maximum creativity where his fashion became almost as daring as his music, merging with the growing hip-hop culture of the 90s. His story, 1995, regal, nostalgic, and overall iconic. With his story, Michael Jackson looked to the past to shape the future. His fashion during this period had more regal, kind of still having that military-inspired look. Things were very tailored, white shirts, black trousers, styled in a way that evoked a sense of royalty, kind of commanding authority. The History Tour uniform, complete with gold, black leather, intricate detailing, was a nod to Jackson's military and historical influences, of course, but it also had a mix of his signature style as well as this more grown man coming into himself type vibe. This era also marked the return of some of his most recognizable trademarks: the white glove, fedora hats, glittering jackets. So while the fashion was more refined and mature, it was still undeniably Michael. His style continued to reflect his desire to create a larger-than-life persona, and this blend of regal and streetwear elements reinforced his status as a cultural monarch. Invincible, 2001. Minimalism and refined sophistication. By the Invincible era, Michael Jackson's fashion had shifted towards a more minimalist, high-end look. The extravagant theatrical costumes of the past were replaced with sleek, tailored ensembles that were more subtle but still undeniably stylish. This period saw Jackson favoring monochromatic outfits, often in black, white, silver, or red, paired with metallic accessories and modern cuts. The Invincible album and its promotional campaign reflected a sense of maturity and control over his image. The fashion was less about spectacle and more about the precision of style. Jackson still wore statement pieces like tailored suits, but the focus was on sophisticated silhouettes that were less flamboyant and more refined. Michael Jackson's fashion was as much a part of his artistry as his music. Each album era showcased his ability to reinvent not only his sound, but also his visual identity, leaving a legacy of timeless fashion statements that continue to influence artists today. From the glam of Off the Wall to the regal styling of History, Michael Jackson's style evolution was a mirror of his own transformation from an emerging star to a global icon. His fashion journey is a testament to his genius, always evolving, but never losing the unmistakable essence that made him the king of pop. I love you, Michael. This video is dedicated to you. I don't think anybody understands how much I love Michael Jackson, how much he has influenced me in my life, and how much his art has changed my life. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I think for our next video, we should take it on down to Janet, my good sis Janet. Yeah! But thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.